What's going on? It's your boy DameSmiff, and today we're going to talk about being valuable in the music industry. And what does it really mean? So, how do you know that you're even cool or important to people and people want to be around you? How do you figure that out? So, if you're interested in conversations like this, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And make sure if you are an artist to let me know in the comments so we can have the conversation about this topic. So, when you think about like being around people, building your network and understanding who to work with and who not to work with, how do you understand whether or not you are bringing value to everybody else or the industry? And it's also one of those things that tend to be very sensitive for artists, and I think it's just because of their personal sensibilities about themselves. But one of the things you're gonna have to do, you're gonna have to figure out the thing you're offering to people and why they would want it. So if you're a rapper, a musician, a producer, or a singer-songwriter, you play in a marching band, or if you play the flute on TikTok, why should we care? And once you realize that that is an important part of your job, you can make better decisions when you do approach people for, communication, collaborations, or maybe just you want to give your opinion on certain things. So for example, I use myself. I think this video is valuable to you because as a musician, you may struggle with understanding why people don't support your music. Simple as that. I could get into a bunch of other reasons. I can expound into like layers into this, but even though I have all that in my head, that is the at the core of why this video is valuable to you. So I know that going into this, that's going to be attractive to people who want that kind of problem solved or clarity to that problem. And so when most people are creating music, they're just doing how whatever they feel, whatever comes to them and things like that, and they expect good reactions, good returns, and good profit from it. And that's not how it works. Typically, you don't have to sell people on your music, but you do have to entice and entertain and be attractive. Meaning, don't just walk into a room and just start playing your mixtape and then just looking it around and seeing who's bopping their head. Actually, get people prepared to consume the thing you're offering. So, for example, if I had a restaurant, I don't want to just start cooking food. I kind of want to see who's hungry and see what foods they like and how they like it and then serve it to them. See the difference? And so what then happens is the hungry people see food that they like and they are attracted to it and they're willing to give their money to get the thing to satisfy the problem they have, which is hunger. And so this is how you can pretty much manufacture your own value as an artist. You can find a problem, figure out how to solve it, or you can find a group of people that have a need or a desire for something and be the one to deliver it. Now, the problem that I've seen most artists run into is they want to be liked for who they are and for what they have already and whether or not they're of value to other people. They want to be able to just express themselves and be appreciated for it, and that's not how it works. It would be nice, but the world doesn't function on nice. So you have to approach most meetings, most collaborations, and even interactions with other artists and executives, and even like your cameraman and roadie with the intention that you're going to be of value to them. And again, this can be kind of like jarring if you're a person that doesn't have this mindset going into it, but it's something you need to practice so that way you can be aware of it. Even if it's not in your personality, you just like to just chat with people and just hang out or, chill and in reality waste time, that's fine, but you have to be aware that you're doing that so that way you can understand whether or not that's valuable to the person you're talking to. Some people don't appreciate um, people just hanging out in their studio. Some people don't appreciate having conversations that waste their time or don't actually get to a point. And so once you realize that, you will then either avoid these people or know how to handle them. And so now that you're at a point where you realize that that's actually a thing, what steps can you take to practice these things as an artist? Like, how can you actually be aware of what's going on and make sure you're understanding the conversation you're having with people is effective or whether or not the collaboration you're trying to get from a person is valuable to them? Well, one of the key things is, and I guess this is kind of a reiteration of the point, but you have to be the source of the talent. You have to be the reason people want to work with you or the reason there's even value in what you're doing. And at the same time, you also want to be the source of control and leverage. So let's say if you're a musician and you work with a record label, it probably gives you more leverage to use the name of your record label than it is to use your talents, right? And so that's a way you can understand how people will be communicating with you, your team, or looking at the value of your work. So maybe instead of them working with you because you're, the coolest piano player, they're probably going to work with you because of the leverage your record label's network brings them. And then on the other hand, that can also be a bad thing, whereas your record label may have a bad reputation for working with other artists. So now, because you're connected, it's now affecting how your value is portrayed when it comes to working with you. Another way you can do it is just by simply solving problems for artists. So if you want to be, again, the source of a skill set for the industry, it would be very valuable to people for you to be the one that maybe sets up people's websites or teaches musicians certain lessons and things like that, consulting on business and things like that. Networking is a good one. Connecting people to each other is a great skill to have that brings value to other musicians and, executives and things like that. I guess the last thing would be like trying to understand how you can elevate the conversations when it comes to career and just general conversation. So like if we're having a conversation about, I don't know, pianos and buying musical equipment, expressing the things doesn't help us unless it provides information that moves the conversation forward. So to give you an example, if we're talking about Yamaha pianos and how these pianos are maybe not working for the project we're trying to work on, joining the conversation and talking about things you also like about digital pianos or Yamaha pianos doesn't help us solve that we're looking for the right instrument for the project we're working on. You see what I'm saying? So being able to understand that going into the conversation makes you more valuable versus joining the conversation and then realizing you're out of place or you're speaking indirectly to the thing we're focusing on. Now, again, this is something you're going to have to master and practice because a lot of people will find offense in not having the opportunity to talk versus being effective communicators, meaning they would prefer to just talk and join the conversation and participate rather than initiating a solution with the group. And I can give you an example of that. That would be like going to court and realizing that your lawyer has to talk to the judge in order to understand the law you broke. But instead, you want to just express how you breaking the law was a part of you being frustrated and you needed to do that to, whatever reason you come up with. Having that expressed does not help you. It does not bring any value to the conversation and it doesn't do anything. It may feel good, but it doesn't help. And this is really one of the things that artists have to really understand and grasp because it's a business mindset. It helps you understand to get to the point, get things done, focus on the objective and not how you feel about the process and things like that. And so it'll make a lot of conversations when it comes to even creating music a lot more effective. You will focus on, all right, we need to get to a certain sound or get to a certain point in the project instead of worrying about how the project makes you feel and navigating that. Or you can focus on things that are a little more like tangible, like whether or not you're going to make a certain number of record sales versus how the audience feels about a record. Like how would they feel affect the record sales? So it's something you could think about and really, really try to like kind of like cut through as an artist on your own. So this was interesting. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I'll be making more videos like this. And I will see you guys tomorrow evening. Peace.